And we are back with another edition of Quake Heartbreak. I am 40 Lions, joined by Flea. We got Sib and Bukster coming up, Flea, and both of these players have been knocking on the door. They've qualified for QPL. They've been in qualifiers for QPL, but now one of them has to send the other home.
Yeah, absolutely. This should be a good match. Both of them have already lost a match in the upper bracket, but they've also secured themselves a win. So let's see how this is going to go. Bukster, Sip, two strong competitors. They've been around the Quake champion scene basically since its inception. And, well, this is going to be an interesting one.
Should be a barn burner, as Dan loves when I say. Deep Embrace, Blood Covenant, Insomnia. Sib's going to be playing Ranger, Anarchy, and Death Knight. Buckster has Strogg, Doom, and BJ. So it all starts on Deep Embrace. Sib with the Ranger, Buckster with the Strogg. How do you feel about that specific matchup, Flea? Real quick while we get into it.
Real quick while we get into it, both some solid champions. Yes, we've seen a lot of crowd sliding action on Deep Embrace. People have even been playing Slash on it at this very tournament, and then you've also got that Peeker to add on to that. On the other side, you've got Ranger. A lot of rocket jumping opportunities on this map in particular. Ranger makes it all just a little bit easier. Plus, that orb allows for some excellent relocation between both items. So I think that in terms of champion picks, pretty meta, pretty standard, nothing out of the ordinary.
Should be a good one. Again, tournament life on the line for both players. All the lower bracket action happening on this stream. Somebody has to go home, and their dreams will be shattered, unfortunately. I'm the Grim Reaper is what I've been joking about all day, because careers end here, Flea. All right, this is the stream where players go to casually walk out into the sunset. So we'll see who it's going to be. Hopefully it goes to all three. We were talking real quick before we went live on the stream. None of these games in the lower bracket have gone to 3 maps yet. It's just been sweeps week all day.
Damn.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
All right, well, let's take a look. We're counting down right now. We're about to jump into things, and we are on Bukster's point of view. So let's see what he can do with Strogg. Both players immediately delaying their major items. I like what Bukster did right there. Just instantly go for the Peeker. Get some information, maybe some damage as well. This time around, not much of either, but still, solid attempt.
Yeah, not bad at all. It's a great rail from Sib there to open things up. A little bit of a rocket jump, and Bukster's just so sneaky. Big rocket. Nice defensive play there, using that wall to keep space between himself and Sib. Securing the armor down below and looking for a little bit of damage. Ooh, almost followed up, but just didn't have a rail. Now he's going to work his way over to try and deny this heavy. There's the orb play. Sib taking a lot of damage. Needs to be careful. The chase is on. Will the Peeker come out for the frag? No, the rocket, and there it is. But oh, Sib, what a play! Ring around the rosy, and Bukster just wasn't quick enough on the Peeker play. Flea.
Bukster just kind of went the wrong way with the Peeker. If he had gone right, he probably would have been able to either kill Sib or make him burn that railgun, but nope. He went around the left, Peeker came from the right, and that's all she wrote.
47 HP for Bukster. Does heal back up, and again, securing that lower armor. But Sib looking good. Reppin' Kinesis. Brand new sponsor for Sib. Always love to see orgs dive into Quake. Everybody should be involved in Quake, Flea. But I digress. Maybe I'm a little biased here on the desk. 1-0 as that rail sails by Bukster's shoulders here. Sib looking to extend, trying to get some more map control. Has to make his way back over to the heavy. A little bit messy here. Orbing past the Peeker after the rail, and plants Bukster with another finely placed rail. And he's able to deny this upper shard as well. And another great rail. Sib really getting up right now, Flea.
Bukster currently 0% railgun accuracy. Has only managed to fire twice, missed both of them. Meanwhile, Sib is just drawing him all the corners of the room with the rail. 43%, over 500 damage with that weapon alone. Sib absolutely looking in prime shape right now.
Yeah, fantastic start. Pressure, not a thing that he's worried about right now, even though in the lower bracket, like I said, he's been in the QPL before. He's played relegation matches, qualifying matches. Sib has been all over. He's been on land, so very experienced here as he's trying to fight his way through the lower bracket. Decent control, up 3. And it is taken by Bukster. That rocket just sails underneath him. Sib in a bad position now, up against the wall, has to drop down, can't land the rocket. The Dire Orb Hail Mary play, but Bukster just takes him out. And now, unfortunately, Sib won't have Dire Orb for 40 seconds, and Bukster may be able to press the issue.
Sib definitely just fumbled the weapons a little bit, with bukster kind of coming up the bounce pad, holding back as far as he could, so that first rocket missed. And then in the LG fight, Sib just wasn't able to match that intensity. So bukster finally getting himself on the board. See what he can do. Oh, that's a whole lot of tribal damage. 15 points of health. Can he make it to the Mega? He can! Woo! That was so close. Just a tickle of LG would have done it, but the rail comes out just a little faster by bukster.
Yeah, that was an all-or-nothing life-saving rail here. The rockets from down below are absolutely relentless. There's the Dire Orb play to steal away the armor, and Sib finishes with a rail. That was gorgeous.
Mega is the next major item. Oh, those rockets from a distance. Same thing that happened last time for the exact same position. Sib not connecting with the rockets. Bukster consistent with the LG. That's how he got a foot in between the door earlier. Looks like it's happening again.
And Sib is just getting so much mileage from down below. He did it again, finishing with the rail. And Sib is like, you know what? Go for the heavy. It's free frags for me. I'll farm that all day.
This railgun proving to be Bukster's greatest adversary in this. SLG has been on point. Definitely able to hold his own there, but the railgun, that's where he's faltering. Still only at 14%, whereas Sib is hitting a tremendous 50. Just the difference is staggering. 40. Bukster has hit 1 rail, Sib has hit 14. That explains the difference in score right there.
Absolutely. 1,000 rail damage for Sib. He's hit 14 rails, meanwhile Bukster's hitting 14%. That one will boost him to 25, but absolutely, Bukster needs to retaliate with the rail better. That distance game is firmly in Sib's advantage, and that opens up the entire map and control as well. The rocket streaming by. Bukster does land a rail. Potential for another one here from down below, just missing out. The Dire Orb comes out so he can secure the heavy. And Sib with a great rocket as well. Prediction rockets and rails really, really strong from Sib on map number 1 here.
Yeah. Sib now full control of the center area of the map. Stacks are relatively equal. And it looks like Mega is probably gonna go to Bukster. Sib hoping for an opportunity to do some damage. That LG is good. But Bukster responds in kind. Yet after, this heavy will be taken. Bukster should once again have a stack advantage. Oh!
This boy with the 2-piece! Sib coming up big.
That rocket just sent them flying, spiraling out into the open, free from cover, and Sib capitalized on that massively. Beautiful stuff.
It's just really good prediction, Sib, just knowing that Bukster wants to keep testing this heavy here. Nice pickup in the middle of the fight for Bukster. Can he finish with the peeker? And he will, but Sib will trade, opting to go straight for the Strog rather than deal with the peeker, saying, I'm okay with the trade, I have a 5-frag lead.
5 frags, 4 minutes. Still doable for Bukster, but he's got to start getting frags and he's got to make them clean as well. This he cannot afford to allow. 40. Taking this much damage in these simple exchanges, that is going to set him back by so much. Might even phase him out of the Mega. Yeah, that rocket, that rail. Oh, Sib is on fire.
Sib vicious right now, coming out to play 9-3, knowing what's on the line. He's not ready to say goodbye yet, Flea.
He sure isn't. Bukster doesn't want to leave this tournament either. So step it up at least a little more. Big damage being exchanged. Sib, Bukster both railable. Neither player able to connect a shot. Oh, Bukster dodges, making good use of the pillar, and then retaliates.
I like that rail or rocket angle through the grate there. Doesn't get any damage, but keep that one in your back pocket for pubs, Flea. Still down 5, 3 minutes. Good rail there, but he just gives up on the defense of the heavy. And at this point, I feel like he needed to put a little more pressure. Does back up onto the Mega, which saves his life. Rocket's not quite reaching and down to 57 HP. He's trying to get this upper light armor. And he does. A Sib just trying to get that jumping rail. Just missing out, but Bukster's got to put a little more pressure on here. Time's ticking, Flea.
Time indeed is against him. So we're approaching the final quarter of this map. Bukster waiting for heavy. Now might want to try and race over to the Mega health where Sib is set up. Oh, clever use of the orb right there. Sib takes away the Mega, replaces himself on the other side of the map instantly. but Bukster was ready for it. Good, solid defensive rockets, but 40. Bukster cannot afford to be on the defensive right now. He needs to be on the offense, needs to get these frags going.
Yeah, decent peeker damage, but he can't find the rail, and now he's got to press on. He's trying to make the jump. He's going to flub that just a bit. It's going to send him packing. He doesn't have an angle. A little bit of tri-bolt on the way over to the Mega, but he gets hit by a rail as well. You're absolutely right. The pressure's on. He's got to start doing damage, and he's got to just start going. There's not much else to do. Missing with the follow-up rail. Sib is trapped. Makes the jump this time, but Sib is ready for it with a little bit of LG and then orbs around. A little bit of misdirection here, and Bukster's just trying to find some rocket damage and cannot find any.
Sib's use of the orb has been really solid this map. He's used it offensively, gotten him frags, gotten him in position, tied some items together, but even like that, 40. Sib clearly was not hoping to run into Bukster right there. He comes through a teleporter, taken by surprise, and what does he do? Orbs into his opponent, does some good damage, and all of a sudden, Bukster is the one kind of wildly flailing around, looking for what to do, as Sib makes his way out of the room and buys himself even more time.
Bukster does put up a frag, but with 1 minute remaining, Sib can kind of bide his time, and with that defensive rocket in the stomach, he can just take him out. And Sib just stomps out any chance of a comeback with that play. Superb defense coming out of Sib.
That is indeed going to be the GG. Bukster. It's all gonna come down to the next map for him, 40. This is his final lifeline to remain in the Quake World Championships.
And yeah, I mean, backs against the wall. Like I said, I don't know whether it's Caster's curse at this point or not, but every single lower bracket game thus far has been a 2-0 sweep. Can Bukster be the first to send us to a map number 3? We will find out shortly. Map number 2 loading up after this one will be Blood Covenant. Sib will be playing Anarchy. Bukster on the Doomslayer. And Sib's he's looking good. He's looking fierce here in the lower bracket.
Oh, he is. He is. Like what I'm seeing out of him. Now, Sib, infamous in the Quake Pro League. I think few players have made it through Challengers as much as he has, right?
He's the Challenger King, for sure.
I've
Challenger champion at the very least.
Like, I've taken some notes here, 40, and this is... Let me just count it real quick, okay? So that's 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7 matches, either him coming in as a challenger or him trying to defend his spot within the league. So Sib, he is no stranger to the pressure that comes with playing either as the challenger or fighting for a spot within the Quake Pro League.
He thrives in it. He was born in it, some might say. I don't know. So we'll see. Clearly, no nerves are affecting him right now. I'm not going to say that nerves are affecting Bukster, and that was the performance. I think Sib is just playing so comfortably that he could play whatever style of game he wants and kind of impose it on his opponent right now, as we saw on map number 1.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunate for Bukster, map 2, on the other hand, a very, very different arena. This is going to be Blood Covenant, right? A lot larger, much more open spaces, long hallways and corridors in comparison to Deep Embrace. And Bukster will be running the Doomslayer versus Anarchy. Now, Doomslayer 40, I don't know about you, but that kind of worries me a little bit. He's not a pick that we very often see on this map. Yes, you can do bridge to rail easily, but other than that and traversing that middle part of the map, I don't know. I feel like Doomslayer has really fallen off on this map.
Yeah, interesting pick for sure. I'm not really sure what the thought process was behind it. I think catching up to an Anarchy is going to be an absolute pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But if you start off strong, you kind of maintain rail position and make sure that Anarchy doesn't have that long-range fight ability, maybe it could snowball in your favor. But really, it comes down to the start. I feel like we might see some greased-up Doom guy off the start to get some speed advantage. Because, again, Berserk, other than the speed boost, is kind of useless. Maybe up close as a Hail Mary kind of play, but we don't really see it that often.
Oh, 40, you did not see what I just saw in Zeneku versus Chain. Zeneku got two
That's
Berserk
a lie.
kills. Oh, you did see it? Okay.
I did see that, but again, that's uncommon.
That
I feel
is
like
indeed a rarity.
we don't see it a lot, but it was fantastic. And Zen is looking girthy. I want to see him and Dan shirtless before Grand Finals wrestling, but that's just me. Again,
I mean, if you would have been in the green room, 40, Dan has been walking
Damn
around
it, don't
without
tease
a
me.
shirt. Oh my god, it has been a great. Now, what will also be great, undoubtedly so, is this next map. So keep in mind, Bukster lost the first map in this series. This is his final lifeline to stay in the tournament. He has to win it to force out the decider Otherwise, he's out.
All the pressure is on. Can he break the curse of the 2-0 in lower bracket? It's all up to bukster, and there it is. Quick berserk. Trying to get all around the map as quickly as possible. Grabs the light armor up top after pickup and doubles back for the mega, but at this point he actually gives it up. Does hit a rail, but was it worth it? Now he's on the back foot. Rough start, does have rockets and rail to work with. Needs to be very careful. Okay, interesting.
Very patient. bukster just waiting around the corner, getting a perfect read on Sip. Plus a punishing rain as well. Keep in mind, rails, yes, it always does a 90 flat damage, but that 90 hurts a lot more in champion that doesn't spawn with any armor whatsoever. Good push, nice rockets, but Mega is there at that inconvenient time for bukster. Sip does manage to get out.
Yeah, bukster just wishes he was there a little bit earlier so he could finish that before the mega pickup. Luckily for Sib, it spawned just in the nick of time to save his life. That rail just missing from both players. Bukster tries to fire back, but he's going to casually stroll back to the heavy. Get some armor going here. Still lacking LG, and finally drops down to grab an LG of his own, so that mid-range fight is now an option for you.
Around 10 seconds between the items. Sip, 2 railgun shots left. Both players, I think, have a pretty good idea of where their opponent is. At least Sip knows for certain right now that barrage of rockets coming his way. Now the items kind of favor bukster right now in terms of timing. He can pick up heavy and make a push for mega at the same time. But he needs to be landing those rails. Oh, that shot! That's a costly miss. That's a costly miss. Sip kind of pinned against the wall right there. Fortunate for bukster because he would have cleaned up the frag right there.
Yeah, it was a bit of a freebie. You hate to see those go to waste there for bukster, but on to the next one as we're 2 minutes in. Dead even at 0. Both players showing a lot of respect. Both players knowing exactly what's on the line. Bukster facing elimination. Sib looking to advance. Doesn't want to risk anything and have to go to a third map.
I also love that the rail percentage is 40. It's the opposite of what we saw on the previous map. This time around, bukster hitting 60% and Sip down to just 10. Hitting just 1 out of 10 shots so far. So this is the complete opposite of what we saw. Sip missing a whole lot of rails. And even considering that 40, it's quite admirable that he's keeping this a tight game.
Yeah, I mean, again, we saw the miss for bukster, which could have led to a frag. Sib just going all in, eating a lot of LG, trying to make the jump over. That's going to send him packing down to the bottom of the columns, and that's a free mega for bukster. And with a split this big, Flea, he should be able to grab the heavy as long as he makes his way over there shortly. Just trying to figure out exactly where Sib may be, and Sib is already in position for the heavy, so he should be able to defend this as bukster's going to come flying in at the last second now. And it's going to be dangerous because of the LG. Perfect positioning from Sib. He's going to take that. But now he might actually go down. He didn't actually make a move to get out. Now he's stuck so far back, and bukster's able to claim his first frag.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward distance to take the fight off, right? Right at the edge of the LG range, and then you back off a little. You're kind of out of range. Bukster is the first one to switch to rail and connect, and then Sip, 6 points of health. 1 bullet of the machine gun will be enough to clean that up. So now bukster, 1 frag in the lead. Having over twice as much damage dealt as Sip. Items picked up are pretty much identical, so it's all about the damage that's allowing bukster to get that 1 frag up.
Another great rail from Sip here, just trying to chip away at bukster. Does eat a little bit of rocket damage, trying to play cutoff there. Ooh, that's a donk, but pre-pickup, so not a huge deal in Sib's eyes. And again, as an Anarchy, you have that pocket mega, essentially, so it's interesting that Sib's not playing more towards the heavy. We saw him swipe 1 away from bukster, but he's just trying to go for full map control. He just wants to ice out bukster completely.
Bukster is also aware of this. He knows that Sip wants to favor the heavy because of his ability, because of that injection and the health top-up, so he has been much more protective over the armor than he would have been over the mega. Oh, this is good for bukster. Mega is still up. Does he know? Can Sip go for it? Oh, he does! Oh no, I think his corpse made it, but he himself did not. Good for bukster.
Oh.
That's 2
That one hurts bad.
Oh. Not sure
He
why
can tank another one.
But okay,
Yep.
gets the job done.
Yeah, that couldn't quite decide. Not very decisive on the weapon, but he knew he could tank another rail, so pretty confident pushing up with the shotgun to grab that. But he needs to calm down a little bit. Good LG from down below as Sib making sure that Bukster realizes this isn't free. There's still 5 minutes remaining, only 3 frags. Let's not get crazy here, as Bukster is working on getting a dub for map number 2, sending us to the first map number 3 of the lower bracket.
That rocket is going to be more information than damage. Tell Sib exactly where Bukster is hiding out at. Now he's going to drop down to heavy. Sib's got a nice stack to work with. Oh, the problem for Sib right now, 40, is that he doesn't have the railgun yet, so he cannot engage these long-distance fights. LG rockets is all he's got to work with.
Wow. Yeah, what a shot from Bukster with that vertical rail. And we
Sick.
talked about it earlier, right? If Bukster uses the double jump to try and control the rail, it's going to be a nightmare for Sib because he can't play that long-range distance game, and the speed doesn't really matter at that point of Anarchy.
Indeed, it does not. Heavy, once again, will go to Bukster. He's got a good, solid stack to work with. Look, Bukster, he's still over on that bridge side of the map for it. He's still eyeing that railgun. He knows what Sib wants, but I think that by now he realizes that Sib has had the opportunity to go for it. Completing the unholy trinity, getting all of the weapons in his arsenal.
Yeah, and Bukster's willing to make that trade, Mega for rail, especially with a 3-frag lead. He says, that's fine, I'll just keep adding to my stack. Maybe you'll hit a couple rails, but... Ooh, he's really putting him up against the wall here. Good shot from Sib, but he's just on death's door. Dropping down to grab that light armor. And Bukster will grab the heavy. It's going to be a tight timing for this Mega. Can he make it? I think he just hurt him, so... Oh no! He goes for the health instead of the Mega, and Sib, a little bit of a mispositioning there, eats a rail and now has to use the inject, trying to do damage after the Mega pickup to try and even out the stack, and Bukster's just doing a dance all day. That column is saving his life.
Yes, indeed. Sib staying alive by virtue of that one pillar that he uses to block some of those shots. But 40, he can't just stay alive. He needs to do something, make something happen. It looks like that's just not going to be today. At least not on this map.
Yeah, 58% rail for Bukster, 1,500 damage in comparison to 21%, 720 for Sib, and that is the tail of this one, especially on Blood Covenant. You're going to need to hit more rails than that to try and keep up with your opponent. Decent rocket there, but as you said before, a little bit more information than damage. And Bukster 2 minutes away from sending us to the first map 3 of lower bracket. Looking very, very solid here. We were worried about the Doomslayer pick, but he played it well, controlling the rail more often than not allowing Sib to get the lead initially and play that runaway game as Anarchy, and this is coming up Bukster right now, looking solid.
I think it's also worth noting that, yes, Bukster played this well, but Sib kind of did the opposite. I'm still looking at the statistics for it. Sib, it's true, at times he was denied access to the rail, but ultimately he's fired more shots with the railgun than Bukster has. Sib has fired 41 railgun shots and connected with less than 20% of them. Only 8 railgun shots hit, next to Bukster's 20. Again, rail proving to be a decisive factor, so indeed Bukster played this well, but Sib just missing far too many shots to equalize these fights. Oh, he still has a shot now. Might be able to chase him down. Super Shotgun comes out, but oh no, pushing through the choke points against those rockets. I think that one will seal the deal for Bukster.
Love that use of the Berserk as well, denying the lower armor. Going back for the heavy to maximize. Somehow just taking the Mohawk right off of Anarchy with that rail. But this should be it, even with the speed of Anarchy. I mean, this is just too far gone. Bukster playing a solid game. Nothing too crazy. As you said, the tail of this one was the rail mechanically, Sib not showing up the way he needed to fire back and kind of reply long range. And Bukster's going to take this one, and we are going to our first map number 3 of the lower bracket for this entire tournament.
Look at that. The boys committed to putting on a good show for us, 40. They were like, oh, it's 40 and free. Come on. Gotta make sure that we bring our A game for this one.
Damn right. As again, I am the crypt keeper here, as I'm sending people to their graves. Unfortunately, that's my duty on the B stream.
Poor you, poor you. Not an enviable position.
It's heartbreaking because I love all these players and I love watching Quake. So the best silver lining of it all is we get this third map that I've been waiting for the last 2 days. So bukster 5-0 over top of Sib on Blood Covenant as we are going to load up shortly into Insomnia for map number 3. It'll be DK for Sib and BJ for bukster. Flea, in terms of the champ picks on this map, who do you side with?
DK for, let me take a look, bring it up again for me as well. So Insomnia, indeed, the BJ being chosen by bukster, and then we're gonna get the Death Knight by Sib. So Death Knight, we were talking about him a bit on the A stream, 40. It's not that long ago, just a few short stages, that Death Knight was like that one pick that no one would go for, right? It was like maybe in a best-of-7 grand final, if you absolutely have to on the last map, picking of Razy, of course, that's when you would bring
exactly
it up.
what
At this
happened.
point, he's been changed quite a bit and is a much more viable pick. On the other hand, we're getting the BJ by bukster, similarly aggressive champion, a lot of damage, burst damage potential. But it's interesting to note that Insomnia, from what we've seen, at least in these finals, players have tended to favor faster champions, mobile champions, right? Athena, we've seen some Anarchies, we've seen Rangers, we've seen Doomslayers, a lot of faster champions coming out on this map in particular, whereas both of these players have gone all in on the damage.
Yeah, it's usually mobile verticality champions that are chosen on Insomnia due to the map layout, but you're absolutely right. This is just pure damage, be it dual wield or flame strike. We'll see. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities to trap. The corridors are a bit narrow, so we will see who comes out on top, but this is for all the marbles. Map number 3, first one of the lower bracket of this tournament, Sib versus bukster. One of these players, unfortunately, has to make their exit, and we will find out in about 10 short minutes, Flea.
It's going to be heartbreaking, no matter what, right? Both
it's going to be sad
players,
regardless.
I mean, both of these players have tried so many times through challengers, often being some of, if not the very first to qualify for the finals of challengers. They're just that good, but they have not been able to consistently secure themselves a position within the Quake Pro League. So it's important for both of these players looking at the future of competitive Quake. So what's going to happen? This is a very difficult one to tell. I think a lot of it is just going to come down to who's hitting the shots. That has been the decisive factor on the previous 2 maps. Map 1, it was Sib landing the rails, bukster missing, Sib won. Map 2, it was the complete opposite, and it was bukster who won. So let's see. Let's see who lands these rails.
10 minutes, potentially more, for either player's tournament life here as bukster opens up with a rail. Sib backs up onto that Mega Bukster looking for another one. Decides not to, and wisely so. He would have eaten a lob of Tribal there. A volley of Tribal. This dual wield's popped a little bit early. Flame Strike comes out. Will he avoid it? Lots of LG. Unavoidable here. As Sib smells blood, he's going to chase this one down. 38 HP. Flying through the corridor. The LG, 2 HP somehow. Bukster hits a rail, and he's still alive.
Bukster actually making good use of that passive ability, right? Regaining some health as the BJ. Ultimately what kept him in there. And Sib wisely deciding not to chase too far after taking a big chunk of damage himself, dropping him down to 65 points of health. Now Sib is the one who's still lacking the railgun. Should have a good opportunity to pick it up shortly, but doing so would mean that he can't make a play on the heavy. And he will prioritize the weapon indeed and just hope to maybe get some exit damage in. Bukster takes the bait, picks up the item, immediately loses the overstack.
Yeah, nice patience there from Sib, knowing that he's going to drop. Just waiting for his time so he can punish the pickup. Make it as damaging as possible. Here's Bukster now going through the telly. Rails exchange from both players again. Flame Strike and Dual Wield available for both players if they get in a pinch. We'll see if it breaks out over the Mega. 10 seconds. Nice rail from Sib there. Ooh, and another one too, and Bukster actually makes his way to the Mega. And Sib, did he miss time? I think he was over at the heavy a little bit too long. Goes through the telly, does a great amount of damage, and has the stack. Should be able to clean this one up rather easily. But Bukster, slippery, got away before. Not this time. Sib able to use the LG to melt him down and get his first frag.
Well deserved for Sib. He came close to cleaning it up several times. Oh, nice one! For a moment there, I thought like Sib didn't immediately catch sight of bukster, had to do a double take and look back at him and be like, wait a moment, you're actually here. But then he landed a gorgeous rocket 100 to the face, nice rail as well. bukster regaining some of that stack by picking up the mega that spawned just there at the right moment. But Sib still firmly outstacking his opponent.
I don't want to jinx it, but I have to. It's my duty. 7 of 7, 100% rail for Sib. And there it is. I fucked it all up, Flea. I knew it, but I had to tell the people. Oh, I hate myself. I'm sorry, Chad. I apologize.
Well,
Sib, if you ever watch the VOD, my bad.
Still a very respectable 87% railgun accuracy for Sib. More than just a little respectable, I would say. Now, bukster, okay, 44. Still solid, right? Nothing exceptional, but it is different from the extreme contrast that we've seen, where one player was hitting like 60% and then the other was down to like 10%. So much more equal now as Sib catches bukster in a bad spot, traps him between a rock and a flame strike, and secures himself a frag. But bukster quick to retaliate. After respawn, getting himself a frag, bringing it to a 1-point game.
Here's the mega pickup. Gets a little bit of tickle on the way out as well. So yeah, bukster quick on the retaliation. Able to back up onto the mega. Needs to be careful not to drop straight onto the LG. It's tempting, but it's deadly. A little bit of rocket damage on the way out here. Sib ready to play defensive with that rocket. The LG to try and keep him out there. Sib is very, very weak. Has no armor. Shouldn't really contest this. As he comes flying through, and this could be a nightmare. The flame strike comes out, but dual wield also comes out, and Sib just playing around the column and making it work with little to no HP. Somehow,
that rocket was so clutch. That pre-fire rocket saved him right there, but not for that long. bukster pushing through the teleporter, finding the angle with the railgun, tying it all back up. Keep in mind, for everyone watching at home, this is the final map of the series, the tiebreaker, the decider. Whoever wins this one stays in the tournament, whoever loses is out.
now, since I'm not live on site, do they actually walk the player out of the studio when they lose? No, I'm just kidding. 2-2, almost 5 minutes here. Yeah, they just escort him right out of the studio.
ZSX just picks them up, throws them over his shoulder, and just carries them out. That's
like, you are done now.
It's painful. They're screaming, wailing, crying. ZSX, emotionless, just takes them out. So it's not pretty for you. It really isn't.
It's not. Very heartbreaking scene at the PGL studios. All tied up at the midway mark. 5 minutes to the end of somebody's tournament run. It's up to the players to decide who. So both players have their ability on hand. bukster stack looking a little bit better. All things considered, even armor in favor of Sib, health in favor of bukster. That rail missing. A little bit of rocket damage into the dual wield. That's going to send Sib packing towards the heavy as bukster gets a free mega and has plenty of time to position for this next heavy armor.
Both players slowing this down considerably for them because they know what's on the line. Now heavy up in just a few seconds. Ships will be able to want to take it. Oh, that's a good amount of damage coming out right there. Messy. Yes. Combination of nail gun, flame strike, shoddy. But damage is damage. Missing that rail makes it so that he cannot push in for that mega though. Why? Sib doesn't have rockets. He doesn't have LG. He needs to find a way to get a hold of these weapons, because otherwise he cannot take those fights up close and personal.
Yeah, he's trying to make the shotgun flame strike work up close. He actually gets caught out in a rail in the cheeks from bukster. Now the dual wield Sib's in a bad way, trying to make the shotgun work, and down to 30 HP, getting a nice chunk of damage. Sib down to 50 HP, and the flame strike is back, so bukster has to be careful not to push too far close. There's the flame strike for defense to try and get the mega. bukster's on fire. Gonna mitigate with the health bubble, but Sib is doing a great job of staying alive. Next rail will win at least the frag, as bukster's down to 50, Sib down to 25 with a little bit of armor. This is so dangerous for both players, Flea.
It absolutely is. Sib once again escaping by the skin of his teeth. Still 2-2. Heavy is going to be the next big prize. bukster will be able to take it, but loses almost all of it, and oh my goodness, Sib! 1, 2, 3, and sold! Beautiful plays. Mega is up in time. This is excellent. Sib finally chaining together some of these shots, even despite 40's horrendous jinx earlier on. Oh, look at this. Again, gets him in the corner, rocket up against the wall. Flame Strike finishes it off. Bukster. This is starting to enter desperation mode, 40.
It's going to be bad, especially when you're pushing aggressively because of time and you know your opponent has Flame Strike. At least for 30 seconds, he's going to be free of the flames. But Bukster doesn't have the weaponry to aggress from any situation right now. Shotgun and Tri-Bolt in hand with a little bit of machine gun. He's going to drop down, grab the LG. Never mind, the rail's going to push him out of LG room, and he can't even grab that, and down to 50 HP. This is looking more and more dire right now, Flea.
It is. It is. Bukster might not know that Heavy hasn't been picked up yet. Quite surprised by Sib's decision making right there, given that he was in the Heavy room with nothing stopping him from picking it up. Bukster
like,
just noticed it. Did you see?
Bukster's like, hold on a second.
Back for a second and then was like, hey, oh, Heavy is up. He just spun around and was like, what is going on? Sib just giving him a freebie. If he loses now, if Sib loses this fight, that 40, that moment is going to have been decisive in the outcome.
The rocket is going to be so dangerous to aggress, but he has to, and there's the rail sending him packing. A minute 30 left. Bukster will have heavy control. But now I think Sib is ready to start playing aggressively defensive here. He's going to keep a lot of space in between him and Bukster, a lot of corridors if he can. There's a rail exchange from both players. That's in Sib's favor, especially now that he hits the follow-up as well. Bukster, dire straits right now, somehow dodging that rail, but he's on death's door, but he's also just time is a factor. A minute 5 remaining to try and come back into this with 2 frags.
Indeed, time is of the essence. And Bukster desperately looking for a way to get into this. But oh my god, I love the play by Sib. That was beautiful, 40. So confident as well, right? So many players would have just ran for their lives for this past minute. Or the last minute rather, but Sib, he knows what he can get away with. Expertly positioned, sealing the deal with that one, and now I think we've entered mathematical impossibility with this one. And that, no doubt, is going to be GG. Indeed, Bukster calls it. GG's in the chat. Bukster, representing Latvia, is going to be exiting the Quake World Championships, and Sib from North America is going to continue on. Congratulations to him.
Survives to fight another day, which will be today, another match. But yes, shouts to Bukster. Made it to LAN, and that is an achievement to be proud of, but unfortunately his run will end here as Sib took it to map 3, Bukster did, but Sib was able to end it there. And the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, like you said, being able to stand tall, using that Flame Strike shotgun, wanting the engagement to be up close. Well done to Sib for not taking his foot completely off the gas. Able to take this one 6-2, 2-1 overall in the set. Again, commiseration to Bukster, but that's the end of his tournament run. Sib fights again through the lower bracket. It's going to be a long road, Flea, but he gave himself the opportunity to get another game in.
Absolutely. I don't know exactly who Sib is supposed to play next. I don't know if it's even been decided yet, but good luck, because he's going to need it. Sib's looking fierce himself, but 40, looking at the A stream, everyone who drops down into the lowers is looking for a fight. They all look fierce, they all look capable, so it's going to be a hard-fought road ahead of him no matter what.
Absolutely. We have a lot more Quake action here on both streams. We're going to take a quick break for this one, but then we have another lower bracket knockout match for you shortly. Don't go anywhere.